Did Michael Jackson try to warn us he would be murdered?
These will be my final show performances in London. This will be it. This is it. And when I say this is it, it really means this is it.
State.
Yes.
Let me read something that you say Michael told you. LaToya, they want my catalog. They want my publishing. They'll do whatever it takes to get it. They're going to kill me.
Like, all due to his mental health, he's going to kill himself. That way, if they did attempt to kill me or kill me like they killed Michael Jackson.
Few celebrity deaths have resonated in the lives of so many individuals across the globe as the death of the king of pop, Michael Jackson. Not just because the news of Michael's death came so suddenly and unexpectedly, but also because there are many circumstances surrounding his death that still don't add up to this day.
This is hard. My brother, the legendary king of pop, Michael Jackson, passed away on Thursday, June 25th, 2009 at 2:26 p.m.
It was an announcement that shocked the world. Michael Jackson dead at 50 years old.
Officially, Michael's death was caused by the negligence of his personal doctor, Dr. Conrad Murray. However, many believe that Murray was just a pawn used by the powerful and sinister forces in the entertainment industry who wanted to profit from Michael's death.
We want to remind him that it is AEG, not MJ, who is paying his salary. Based on the assumptions that AEG is your company and MJ is Michael Jackson, do you have an understanding of what that means?
No, I don't understand it because we weren't paying his salary.
So why would you write that?
I have no idea.
But did Michael know he was being targeted by these forces? Well, there's actually a lot of evidence pointing in this direction. And before his death, Michael himself was getting paranoid that people were going to come for him. So let's break it all down. At the time of his death, Michael was preparing for his highly anticipated comeback tour, This Is It, which was scheduled to start on July 13th, 2009 at London's O2 Arena.
You gonna put that in?
On June 24th, 2009, Michael arrived for rehearsal at the Staples Center in Los Angeles at around 6:30 p.m. And according to concert magician Ed Alonzo Michael, quote, looked great and had great energy. Michael rehearsed until after midnight and returned to his home in the Holmby Hills around 12:30 a.m. Since Michael suffered from insomnia for years and would take different types of medicine to help him sleep, his personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray, was present that night at his home and gave him various drugs while continuing to monitor him. However, after several hours and multiple injections, Michael still couldn't fall asleep, and according to Dr. Murray, he repeatedly asked for milk, a term for the powerful sedative propofol. At 10:40 a.m. on June 25th, Michael was still wide awake, so Dr. Murray agreed to inject him with propofol diluted with lidocaine. This seemed to have worked, and when Dr. Murray observed that Michael had fallen asleep, he left his bedside to use the bathroom. However, when Dr. Murray returned a couple minutes later, he discovered that Michael was not breathing and had a weak pulse. Dr. Murray later testified that he administered CPR for around 10 minutes and injected Michael with a drug used to counteract a sedative overdose. The doctor called Michael's staff, who were present at the house, to help him. However, he didn't call 911, later claiming there was no landline phone in the house and that he didn't know the exact address. At 12:21 p.m., almost an hour and a half after Dr. Murray discovered that Michael wasn't breathing, a security guard finally called 911. The paramedics performed CPR for 42 minutes at the house and then transported Michael to Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center. At the hospital, a team of medical personnel tried to resuscitate Michael for more than an hour, but were unsuccessful, and the King of Pop was pronounced dead at 2:26 p.m.
In the skies over Los Angeles, news crews track the helicopter carrying Michael Jackson's body. In death, the King of Pop, just as much a figure of fascination as he was in life. In a plain white body bag, Jackson was transported into the care of the Los Angeles coroner. He will establish how exactly it all came to an end.
Given Michael's cult-like status, it didn't take long before conspiracy theories started spreading that Michael's death wasn't accidental. In fact, the conspiracy started the very next day, on June 26th, when the recording of the 911 call made by Michael's bodyguard was released to the public. From the call, it was determined that Dr. Murray used a non-standard procedure to revive Michael, administering CPR on a bed instead of on a hard surface.
He's not breathing, and we're trying to pump him, but he's not breathing, sir.
Okay, how old is he?
He's 50 years old, sir.
50, okay. He's unconscious, he's not breathing?
Yes, he's not breathing, sir.
Okay, and he's not conscious either.
No, he's not conscious, sir.
Okay. All right, do you have him, is he on the floor? Where's he at right now?
He's on the bed, sir. He's on the bed.
Okay, let's get him on the floor.
Dr. Murray also later admitted that he placed one hand under Michael and used the other for chest compressions, whereas standard practice is to use both hands for compression. The same day the 911 recording was released, an autopsy was performed, and the results were published 2 months later. According to the autopsy report, Michael's death was classified as a homicide, and the coroner determined that Michael died from acute propofol intoxication, which got even worse due to multiple other drugs in his system. The autopsy report also stated that Michael was healthy for his age, his weight was in the acceptable range, and his heart was strong.
Contrary to how he was portrayed in the tabloid press, Michael Jackson was a fairly healthy 50-year-old before he died. This revelation comes from a copy of the Los Angeles County Coroner's report obtained by the Associated Press. It shows that the pop singer was 136 pounds when he died. It's in the acceptable range for a 5'9" man. His heart was strong, his kidneys and other major organs appeared to be normal.
As the autopsy classified Michael's death as a homicide, the LAPD and the DEA launched an investigation. However, reports soon appeared in the media that the LAPD didn't secure Michael's home properly and that the chain of custody had been broken. The police denied this and claimed they had followed protocol. However, by this point, Michael's fans had already started fearing that something was being covered up. Besides the reports of police mishandling, there were also multiple contradictory accounts of Michael's drug use. For example, a 2004 document used in Michael's infamous trial stated that Michael was taking up to 40 tranquilizers a night. However, Michael's friend, Dr. A.J. Farshian, later claimed that Michael was actually terrified of drugs.
No, Michael actually was afraid of medications. But he, however, believed that he believed in physicians. He thought that physicians know a lot, so he would listen to them.
Following Michael's death, several propofol bottles were found in his house, and the DEA investigation focused on at least 9 doctors. Ultimately, the investigation zeroed in on Dr. Conrad Murray, and on February 8, 2010, Murray was charged with involuntary manslaughter. The jury trial began on September 27, 2011, and on November 7th, Murray was found guilty and later sentenced to 4 years in prison.
We, the jury in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Conrad Robert Murray, guilty of the crime of involuntary manslaughter.
But there is one interesting fact about Dr. Murray that led many fans to believe he was purposefully hired to kill Michael. Dr. Murray first joined Michael's camp in May 2009 as a part of Michael's agreement with AEG Live, the promoter of his London concerts. And though AEG Live claimed it was Michael who insisted they hire Dr. Murray to accompany him to the UK, it was discovered during Dr. Murray's trial that AEG employed Murray on their own, and that Michael didn't sign the employment contract. Several members of Michael's family have also publicly stated that Michael was killed because of the enormous value of his music catalog. One of them was Michael's younger sister, LaToya, who said Michael was murdered because he was, quote, worth so much more dead than alive.
About Michael, it sounded like you actually believed that he truly thought he was going to be murdered.
Oh, no, I did. When he first told me, AJ, I have to be honest, I didn't believe it. I said, Michael, come on, you're Michael Jackson. Who in the world would do this? Nobody would try to kill you. I mean, it would be world news and everybody would know about it. They're not going to do it. But he was so passionate and adamant about it and says, you don't understand. It's all about my catalog. This is what they want, and this is what they're going to do. And he was terrified. He was a very happy-go-lucky person. He loved amusement parks and the whole bit. But I saw him just get withdrawn and nervous all the time. He says, you don't understand. This is very serious. This is a very serious matter. And it was.
Michael's daughter, Paris Jackson, also stated that she was, quote, absolutely convinced her father was murdered, and she called out AEG for, quote, working their performers to death. In 2010, Jackson's 3 children and his mother sued AEG, alleging they negligently hired Dr. Murray, and Michael's son Prince testified that his father was being overworked during the preparation for the This Is It tour, and complained they were going to kill him.
Prince said his father would cry after phone calls, saying, quote, they're going to kill me. They're going to kill me.
However, The jury ruled in AEG's favor, stating that AEG had no reason to know that Dr. Murray would be, quote, unfit to perform the work for which he was hired. But this did little to convince Michael's fans of AEG's innocence, and many believed Michael knew he was in danger. This belief was further strengthened when the Sun published notes written by Michael in the weeks before his death and passed to German businessman Michael Jacobshagen, who was friends with Michael for over 2 decades. One of the haunting notes read, quote, "They are trying to murder me," while in another one, Michael said he was, quote, "scared about his life because, quote, the system wants to kill me for my catalog." One note also mentioned AEG, and Michael wrote that the concert promoter was putting too much pressure on him, which gave him, quote, "a bad feeling." And while some sources have expressed doubt over the validity of these notes, Michael's fans are still convinced to this day that Michael knew he was going to be killed, and that sadly, he was proven right.